Coming to paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, A Thorn in My Side. The man who rules the world takes on an agent from the CIA from the Black Boule in this action-packed all-new John Haynes series adventure. Pre-order your copy of John Haynes' A Thorn in My Side at Amazon.com and other online booksellers. One of my viewers wanted me to review his new ebook. Now, Logan Rock is a writer who's writing under a pseudonym, and he's written a nonfiction ebook called No More Mr. Nice Guy, The 5 Powerful Steps to Taking Control of Your Destiny. And this ebook is one that I would highly recommend you go out here and pick up because it definitely has some good advice as related to breaking out of the nice guy paradigm and actualizing your potential as a man. Now, one of the reasons why I got into men's issues is because a lot of people used to say that I was a nice guy, and as I did research on what was considered to be a nice guy, I didn't find anything nice at all regarding what people thought of nice guys, whether it be women, like feminists, who created and socially engineered the nice guy, or it was guys out here. Most people don't like a nice guy because a nice guy really isn't nice at all. No, when it comes to a nice guy basically is completely naive and extremely foolish about the world and has no understanding of how life works in the real world. Now, this was further shown to me in a book I read about in 2009 I picked up called No More Mr. Nice Guy by Dr. Robert Glover. And Dr. Glover is a licensed psychotherapist who basically knows all about how destructive the nice guy paradigm is, and his book is one of the foundations for many of my men's issues books like the Simp series, The Man Crisis, and even books that talk about women like why 70% of black women are single. And I have to say, Logan Rock's No More Mr. Nice Guy book is rock solid and has really solid information and is just as well written as Dr. Robert Glover's No More Mr. Nice Guy book, but presents information in a more simple and easy to read form, very similar to what I present in my books like Stop Simpin', Why Men Don't Need Finance to Get Romance, and this is a book I would highly recommend you go out here and pick up and read on your phone, because when it comes to breaking out of the nice guy paradigm, this book is going to help you. Now, Logan Rock's No More Mr. Nice Guy book basically starts to show people the entire nice guy prison and the whole paradigm of behaviors that nice guys participate in, such as having this sensitivity over accountability, sociability over seriousness, feelings over facts, acceptance over appreciation, and words over wisdom. And these whole series of behaviors put people in the nice guy prison that Logan Rock says a lot of nice guys wind up in. And I'd have to agree with that, because what happens with a lot of quote-unquote nice guys is these foolish men basically believed everything that their mothers told them regarding their ideas revolving around manhood, and as they believed everything that their mothers told them about manhood, they wanted to be these kinder, gentler, softer males who looked to go out here and please and appease the first woman in their lives, not understanding the way she was teaching him about manhood was basically putting him in a paradigm of behaviors that was going to lead to him being locked up in the nice guy prison that Logan Rock talks about in the start of his book that he wrote back in 2014. And the whole thing with this book is it's supposed to help a lot of guys out here, again, break out of this paradigm of being this nice guy. And this nice guy, I can tell you, is not a guy anybody wants around, not a guy anybody wants around outside of using him as a tool. And the whole thing is this book will help you break out of that nice guy prison, a prison that many guys put themselves in because they basically want to go out here and please people because that's what their mothers told them to do. Their mothers, and in some cases their beta male fathers, will tell them to go out here and please people. And sadly, as they please people, they wind up making a major mistake in putting themselves last. And when you put yourself last, people don't take you seriously and they don't make you a priority. That's where Logan Rock and Dr. Robert Glover agree as related to their talking points. And again, these changes, as he talks about them, he says in the beginning, they're going to make people uncomfortable. And I know this from personal experience. When you start putting yourself first, people become uncomfortable because they cannot go out here and be able to run games on you. They'll sit there and say, oh, you're distant, or you're aloof, or you're even rude because you're focusing on yourself. But that's what men have to do, because men are the only ones who can take care of themselves and as related to their survival in this world. And when it comes to the nice guy, he doesn't understand this. No, he doesn't understand this at all. And he'll sit there and look to please and appease people. And in the book, Logan Rock shows how that doesn't work for men, and makes a point in one of his pages about how the collapse of every kingdom, nation, and civilization can be traced back to a culture of nice guys. And historically, this is true because every civilization that was around, like Egypt, Rome, the Babylonians, all basically created a culture of women who basically socially engineered a culture of nice guys who clinically are called beta males. And these beta males basically focused on things that were minor or trivial instead of focusing on more important things like securing the borders or preserving the culture of that civilization. No, they focus more on pleasing women and making women happy instead of going and understanding their role as men, as protectors and providers. Moreover, when it comes to the nice guy is a person who basically feels instead of thinks, and Logan Rock goes in depth on that. And the nice guy will sit there and feel instead of think, and this will be his downfall, because a lot of times when it comes to the nice guy, he's so caught up in his emotions that what he does is he basically goes out here and volunteers lots of information. And as he volunteers lots of information to people, what that does is let everybody know everything about him. And as they know this, they get information that they can go out here and use against him. That's what the nice guy doesn't understand, because he's been taught to be emotional. And because he's been taught to be emotional, he's always talking too much, being too emotional. And whenever he sees a man who's out here and he's very stoic and very serious, he wants to go out here and get upset at that man, not understanding that that man is, again, being silent and basically watching how he speaks. He watches how he speaks because he understands that his words are the foundation of everything for him, because when it comes to a man, his word is his bond, and his word is his bond as related to things, and he says what needs to be said. And that can make a lot of these beta males out here intimidated, because they like to hear lots of words, because that's the way women talk. And again, he's been raised to think more like a woman and socialize more like a woman. And what Logan Rock wants you to do is focus on those social behaviors that many of the nice guys participate in, that make them basically are weak and appear weak to other people in social circles, and make them a target of predatory people who look to take advantage of them. Now, the points that he makes as related to things by saying more, by speaking less, because again, if you say less, it's more, it has a major impact with people, and you say just what you need to say and keep it pushing. That's a skill that a guy has to learn. This is an essential male life skill as related to your communication. You have to understand how to make eye contact. You have to understand how to go out here and say what you need to say. Say what you need to say and keep it pushing. And I'm glad Logan talked about this in the book. And he also talks about another thing that nice guys have to understand. You have to, again, be about action, because a man is action all the time. And he also talks about, again, not using emotions in your response. This is something that I get a lot of heat on from a lot of these dysfunctional people who say, oh, he's talking in a monotone or he's talking like a robot, but that's the way men talk. Men do not go out here and express emotions because emotions will get you killed. Again, an emotional man will get himself killed because he doesn't have any sort of self-control and he lets his mouth just go out here and say anything. And in a circle of men, that's very dangerous. And I'm glad Logan Rock puts all of this information out here about how men communicate, because that's a major part of breaking out of the nice guy paradigm. And he talks about, again, building your legacy, because that's something that I always focused on ever since I was a kid, and that gave me heat because a lot of these guys are out here with, oh, you don't have a girlfriend. Again, the nice guys are always thinking about women and always thinking about pleasing women, whereas men are focused on building their reputation, their legacy, and focused on putting themselves first and focused on putting their goals first. That is what a man is doing. And again, this is not being selfish. This is being centered and focused as a man. You have to be focused on your goals and focused on what you want to do. Whereas the nice guy, he wants to, again, go out here and try to get people to think that, oh, he's this good guy. He sacrificed himself. No, a man does not sacrifice himself for others. He leads others. And as he's leading others, he protects those who want to submit to him and want to be a part of him. He is the leader in this situation. And again, nice guys are not leaders, and they don't really have an impact on the world. And Logan talks about this, and again, no nice guy really makes a difference because people just use them as tools. I would even go further to say they use them as toilet paper. They basically, once they go out here and make crap in their lives, they go find this guy to go wipe themselves with, and then they go out here and then go back to their life and go on back into the way things are. And I'm glad that this book goes in depth on this and goes in depth on a lot of the behaviors that nice guys participate in like being non-threatening, going out here and not really, again, standing out in presence. This is what I've heard not only from Dr. Glover, but I've also heard from many other websites, because back in 2002 there was a feminist website that talked about how nice guys are unassuming, non-threatening. Again, they basically are invisible, and they're invisible, I'll go on to say, because they don't have any sort of masculine energy or masculine presence, because they're too afraid to be themselves. They're too afraid to go out here and be themselves, and everything with them, again, is about their emotions and not about facts. And everything all around in this book is just exceptionally well written. I would say everything here, again, is going to help you further break out of the nice guy paradigm, because the information here is really simple and easy to follow. And I would say it's a book that basically breaks down this whole pattern of the nice guy and shows you how to break out of this pattern. With things that I have talked about in books like I've written, like Stop Simping, and other books that I've written like The Man Crisis, because the whole foundation for a lot of the books that I write as related to men's issues, it started with the whole statement, oh, people saying I'm a nice guy, and that's not something you want anybody to say. No, you don't want anyone saying you're a nice guy, because a nice guy basically is a foolish man who sits there and thinks if he can go out here and please and appease women and make them happy, his life will be better. But no, nobody cares about a nice guy because he doesn't care enough about himself to put himself first. And this book by Logan Rock will basically, again, show you where nice guys make their mistakes and help them break out of making those mistakes and become an actualized man who becomes visible to people because he's not afraid to go out here and be the man he wants to be, not afraid to go out here and say what needs to be said and control his words, control his emotions, and focus mostly on action, because that's what I focus on these days is action, because action defines your character, and action defines your character as a man. Your actions define you as a man, and your actions basically show everyone what type of man you are. That's what being being a man is all about. And this book will help you improve your life as a man. It will help you improve your life. And again, it's a very easy read that breaks down the 5 steps to taking control of your destiny and breaking out of the nice guy paradigm. This book is another one that I was happy to get because it reinforces a lot of the talking points I have presented in many of my books, like The Man Crisis and Stop Simping, and other books that I have read, like Dr. Robert Glover's No More Mr. Nice Guy, and even the website I read back in 2002. I mean, this book basically, again, shows how men, again, we can get out of that pattern that we learned from our mothers and learn how to become a man like our Father, and our Father in heaven. Learn how to, well, God is not a man, but the whole thing is learn to be more like God, and as related to being like Christ. And this can help you as a man. This book is very helpful, and I highly recommend you pick up Logan Rock's No More Mr. Nice Guy. And Logan Rock has basically reissued this book on Amazon.com, and you can get your own copy in digital format by clicking the link in the description box. And if you want to pick up some of my men's issues books on Amazon.com, such as Stop Simping, such as The Man Crisis, and even other books that I've written, like Why 70% of Black Women Are Single, and books that will help your career, like Stop Simping in the Workplace, you can find all those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them at other online booksellers like Draft to Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you want to request a video review of something, you can send a donation to a minimum of $15 to the PayPal or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. And if you have that product, I can make a video review of it. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes' Godbreaker. The man who rules the world takes on the Asgardian god of thunder in this action-packed, all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get your copy of John Haynes' Godbreaker in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere. Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes' 1987. Learn lessons about life and teenage love in the 1980s in this coming-of-age John Haynes story. Get your copy of John Haynes' 1987 in paperback and e-readers at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.